It's day 14. We call Jesus' birth the Christmas miracle. Now, Christmas, I think, has lost some of its meaning because we make it all about being good enough to receive that gift from Santa. The story of Santa originally was not so much about being good enough as it was about receiving a gift that you didn't deserve. And we call that grace. And I would tell you that grace is part of the miracle of Christmas. And we humans, though, we still think we should have more miracles in our lives. A miracle job, miracle $1 million, miracle healing. So how are we supposed to understand something like a miracle, the miracle of Christmas? Well, we need to understand the purpose of miracles in the Bible. Miracles do several things. They display God's power. They proclaim God's authority. Miracles even get man's attention. But most of all, the purpose of miracles in the Bible was to authenticate the message or the messenger from God. So Moses was authenticated by those 10 plagues to bring the people of Israel out of Egypt. And then the prophets Elijah and Elisha were authenticated as God's voice for God's last-ditch opportunity to spare Israel as a nation when they performed 24 miracles between them. Now, just as a point of reference, 850 years later, Jesus comes along. And how is he authenticated as the genuine Son of God? Well, he performed 37 miracles. Now, the days of Elijah and the prophets are not much different than our day. We have nations completely reject Jesus as the Lord. And it can be a confusing time for Christians even who wonder, is Jesus really the only way to God? Well, there are still people who think the way to God is just by being good enough, keeping most of the 10 Commandments. And there are people that think God is only present in their life when a miracle has been done. But Jesus came as God's final and complete revelation and representation of himself and what a son of God would be like. And he calls us to know himself by knowing Jesus, the sinless Son of God. He's the miracle gift of grace at Christmas. So how important is it to know that Jesus Christ is the one? He is the Lord and Savior. Well, Matthew 17, verses 1 through 8 give us another understanding of this. When Jesus goes up on this mountain, what's called the Mount of Transfiguration, he takes along with him 3 of the disciples. Why 3? Well, in Jewish thought, 3 witnesses were required to authenticate something as being true. And so they have this experience when Moses and Elijah appear with Jesus. Moses, the lawgiver, Elijah, the prophet. They both had been authenticated messengers of God. And they appear with Jesus. And then they hear the voice of God who says, "This is my son," talking about Jesus, "whom I love. And with him I am well pleased. Listen to him." So Jesus is the miracle of Christmas. He is the one we're to listen to. More tomorrow.